And they're saying we're live. Let me see
Whoop.
my page. I think so. Yep.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. How's everybody doing this magical day?
Yeah, totally.
So
Totally
good.
awesome.
There we are. Okay, we're live. I've always like so we can see messages because sometimes messages don't show up on this screen, but shows up on this screen. So let me turn my phone here closely so I can see any questions. Welcome, guys. I'm John Ashford. This is my dear sister Nicoleta and Michelle. They are terrific beings that are hosting me to come to Florida. I'm really excited. In less than 2 weeks now, I believe, uh, I will be in Florida and we're going to have a bunch of fun. I want to invite people to an experience, not just a class. You can go take any class, but it's the experience. Um, I am a huge fan, and was always a huge fan of Maya Angelou. And she said something. There's a quote that I have in my office at work. People remember how you treat them. It's the experience. People remember how you treat them. And so I always use that technique when I work with clients, when I'm on probation, when I teach classes. I want people to have an experience, body and mind, spirit, the whole package. But what I want to start off with is I'm coming to teach two classes, a bars class on the 28th of April, and then foundation starts the next day on the 29th for 4 days. Um, I want to know why you guys, what was your interest when you first heard about bars and why did you take that class?
Yeah. Well, for me, I had started here in Florida, a new location, really grounding in and restarting kind of it was a new beginning. And my original draw was to grow my group, my like-minded brothers and sisters, events. I was just looking to connect with my community. And so that was one draw because bars is such an intimate group of connection. And technology really helps us to do that, to stay that connected, which is amazing. So you can take the class online or in person. Um, and I think I just loved the way I felt when I went to this 20-minute teaser that I needed to have more. And what I experienced after was absolutely that connection, how you're connected heart to heart, soul to soul, like journey to journey almost. Just through the process of the class. That's just what it generates and allows. But for me personally, what it did is it really helped break through that limitation of beliefs and helped me to create different points of view of how or what was possible or what I could create or an awareness where I could see choice. And that is everything. I mean, possibility is everything. I mean, I was at service this morning at Sunrise Beach, at the Juno Beach at sunrise, and they're like, you know, the hope is that you can move stones, like it's still there. It's just great. And you can with your mind because we are so powerful individual beings together, how we connect and how we support each other and how we grow and learn and have our breakthroughs. And what I loved about bars is you only have to be willing to allow and receive. And that's it. It's not hard.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep, sister. I love that.
And I'm going to piggyback on Michelle with how easy and simple this practice is. There's 32 points on the head that, when lightly touched, totally transforms belief systems, it releases stagnant energy. For me, at the beginning of the year, I asked Spirit to guide me to a new level of service. And I was open to opportunities and possibilities. And when this opportunity showed up, it felt so simple and so easy. And that's where I recognized the value, because truly allowing ourselves to receive a new way of being, it's at the tips of our fingers. And meeting new people and creating connections and expanding the mind, expanding the possibilities is what bars brought into my life. And it's such a fast shift and fast expanding into new realities that it just blows my mind. I've been wanting to create a course, an online course of chakras. And since I'm doing the bars, I was able to move through that 3 years of stagnant energy. And
Wow.
yesterday, I just created the first meditation practice. And I know and I feel that the bars truly help me to release fear, um, belief system that kept me small into this I can do anything. I can and I will. And that's what bars gifted me to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that space that you guys just experience explained for me was just like the first time I had bars. I had the first class I took was with Barbara Gilman, and she was an angel sent at the right time. I mean, I met her at a library. She's talked about access conscious bars. I was reading Being You, Change the World book by Dane. He made reference to bars. I had no clue about that. But there was something energetically about what was in her eyes and the energy she was presenting. And I was like, I want some of that. I definitely want to see what that's about. And once I laid on the table, I know this is no joke. I think for the entire year, I probably was at her house every weekend because she did bars exchange, and then she asked me to fill in when she didn't have enough number because you have to split, you have to have an even number, and then I went to foundation, and whenever she needed somebody to fill in for foundation, I just actually stepped into the space of being her extra body in foundation because it was an explanation of this. I said, freedom. What is freedom? And I have a dream with Dr. King's shirt on today, and I always say he always talks about freedom rings, and I was thinking about this, and I was like, there's so many different types of freedom, but there's a line from this one of my favorite musicians, George Clinton, from this band called Parliament Funkadelic. He said, "Free your mind, and your ass will follow," and I love that line because the bars actually really free your mind from
Mhm.
all the clutter that you gain from all of the systems. And I say this because um, the danger of it is that once you get free, everything around you changes, and you can't go back.
Yeah.
You desire to go back, and when you try to go back, you start to go insane. And I say that because it's almost like the Matrix movie. You get to see this reality for what it's worth,
Yeah.
not bad or good, but just what it is. Now you have to choose on how you want to navigate through that space. And for me, teaching bars has been that I can, and the question, so let me explain so people know what it looks like. For these are first timers, if you've never had a bars class, you're like, well, is it? You get this manual, the 32 points on the head, and every class is different because the people who show up create the energy of the class and what will
Mhm.
be facilitated. It's a full day. So you have to be there the whole day because energetically, there's going to be changes that happen. And because of my first class, I recognized how potent and powerful that was, that I was like, I got to teach this because the facilitator is actually facilitated by the clients through the questions. So it's a receiving and gifting at the same time.
And what I experienced when I had the bars as well is who takes it, like Nicoleta and I are Reiki masters, and it's a great modality to offer and to, put in your toolbox. But not everybody there is looking to maybe utilize it as a practice for maybe making money, or maybe they are, or maybe it's just an education and awareness to be able to know something different, or to use it for your family or teachers, or there's so many different types of people that might just want it as knowledge. Because there's so many types of natural healing that are available. So I love the diversity of the group. Like,
Mhm.
for instance, there was a gentleman in there who was a colonel, and he was using it for PTSD. He was
Yes.
only doing that. And I mean, this is a bulky, big guy, full
Yeah.
on. He demanded, and just his presence was power. And he was just so connected to the bars and learning the bars and understanding it from a different level, because he had been receiving it for almost a year. And for him, it was about understanding it fully. So that's what I really loved about the class too. There was all types of people in there for different reasons.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
just, it's amazing.
exactly. You don't have to be a healer to practice this
No.
necessarily. You don't have to be professional to practice this. Anyone, you can just take it to help yourself and your family or your loved ones.
Yeah.
So, uh,
And, and and also, it's Nicolette, it's almost like I've been doing meditation for 20, my son's 20, about 26 years, 27 years. And when the experience I could say to someone that after you get off the table, if you've done any meditation, it's like if you've been on a weekend retreat and you're just like, oh my God,
yeah,
what was that? But it happens such a short time. Like I have a bars exchange this afternoon. I mean, we did one last Sunday. It was just like, and my wife and I were talking about why have we stopped doing this? Because I desire to have it almost every day. And that's the other thing about it. So I'm like, well, why do you have to do it every day? Because you are monument. You are like Mount Hood out here in the Northwest. You're huge. And you have all of this clutter that takes space to clear. And every time you run bars, that space clears some of that clutter. And you don't recognize it until, like, I probably had my bars ran, no joke, at least 500 times,
oh my God, so
you
amazing.
know? And it actually, now the other part of it is that you have what I call pudding head, because sometimes I was sitting back, I was like, no, I graduated from university, I went to school in France. I was like, I know I'm smarter than this. And all of a sudden, sometimes my brain just goes blah, because in the process of decluttering, you have just space. You forget about how much clutter. If you're in a cluttered room
Mhm.
and somebody clears it out, like my office has all this paper, and I'm like, oh, I'm going crazy because the paper, I clean all the paper and it's this clutter. You have to get used to that space.
Yeah,
And in that space, you can create whatever you desire.
Mhm. Absolutely.
yes.
It's like
Right.
watching my clients skip out after they experience bars. They're just, I can see their
Yeah.
vibration. It's huge, and they are light, and they are moving, and they are happy, and they feel so positive and ready for the world when they walk out the door, which is why I want to sit through 4 days of foundation.
Oh my
Because if
God.
I can do that with bars, what can we do with foundation?
Now, foundation is the mother load. I mean, I told you about taking the bars class.
Hmm.
So Barbara Gilman was the same person who taught this foundation. The manual is a little bit thicker. And the manual is, imagine putting jet fuel in the fastest car you have and how it would perform. Foundation is that jet fuel for a new possibility that you ever never, excuse my language, you never fucking imagine. Anything that you were holding on to, foundation is going to challenge you. What is that? I mean, everything. And I tell people, like, I've known people who've come and they've had like question when people. My wife said, "Don't say that." I'm like, I say what I have to say. I hope I'm not offending anybody. I'm gonna say that in advance. But I had people come and they've been on that've been in relationship, and what happens, one or two happen, and the relationship is not going very well. Either they leave, or it gets better, or they disappear because they don't want to deal with what was revealed. And it's like that for every aspect of your life. And there's tons of clearings that you will receive. There are body processes that you receive. There are entity conversations that you receive, all in 4 days. And it changes. every year. There, and I'll explain this to people when we have the class. Like the clearing, there's a access consciousness clearing statement. I've been in access for 5 years, 6 years, going on 6 years, and they've had this clearing statement since the beginning of access. It just changed from the COP and the Global Foundation class that happens every year. So foundation is a living thing that the people change the energy of it about what's arising on Earth and in the universe. And um, it's impossible to describe foundation. I could tell you the different chapters in the book. Of course, I could do that, but I'm not. You got to come to the class to get that. But what I will say is the energy, if you're into energy, is going to dynamically be like, wow. I mean, it's 4 days. And I know some people look at the cost because I looked at the cost. I think it's $1,600 for the total class, right? Which is $400 a day for 8 hours. When you go back and look at the universities and what you're going to learn at the university, it's still cheaper than the university, I believe. When my daughter was explaining to me how her classes are, but I guarantee you that you've not probably heard this information in other places. That collective of information that will be shared, and it will bring up a possibility of unbelievable magic. Uh, your money can change, like I see, relationship. You'll let go of some stuff that you've been like, things have you been paying attention to, because it just arises and you're like, what was that? You know, and the people make the class. So if you're willing to have magical change and you truly are searching for real or more freedom, this class possibly could be a contribution to you and your body.
And now, John, some of the people that have already signed up have already taken foundations. They're retaking it,
Yeah.
which is another option. Especially, you can do it online or in person,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, absolutely. We're going to be doing it online and in person there. I've probably taken foundation probably about in the 5 years, probably like 10 times.
That's
I've
awesome.
taken it from other facilitators. I've gone to every global foundation. And I go for, and somebody, I was like, sometimes I wake up and say, am I addicted to this? Nah, my body just likes that much change. I mean, and like I said, it's not, and I'm the first person to say it might not be for everybody. I know that because it's like anything, you know. But if you're in question about change, you're like, I want this to change, I want this to go away. Foundation class will allow you to experience that change if you choose it, but you have to choose it first. That's it in a nutshell.
Love it. Awesome. Can't wait. So exciting.
Yeah.
We're today is so we're maybe a little bit more than a week away from the class.
Yes. Yeah. We started on the 28th with bars, 29th foundation. I'm leaving, Tori and I leave on Tuesday. We'll get there at midnight. I just wanted to get to Florida. I mean, guys, look, I would love you to come. I'm almost like I'm gonna go out unless something changes, I'm coming. I would love to have a class full of people, but I'm gonna be real honest. I'm really being pulled by these two sisters here on the screen. My wife and I were talking about that, and it was just like I was speaking to my dear sister Sarah Grandinetti yesterday, and I was like, Sarah, do you ever go to a class that you possibly might go in a hole when you teach a class? And she asked me, what do you know? And so I was like, I'm sitting here doing tax. So yesterday I was sitting here doing my taxes, and I was like, the IRS would be like, you're an idiot. But that's the IRS. Because I was like, I'm about to spend some money to go teach a class, and it's not where I desire to be with people yet. And then she said, what are you doing it for? I'm like, what? I was like, well, I'm doing it for consciousness. And she says, is there a possibility that somebody or something will change on the planet if you go? Yeah. She said, okay. Keep on asking questions every day. And I asked questions of it. I was like, I'm asking questions. And let me say this. So giving you a little bit of foundation. This is a snippet. And I hope Gary don't beat me up for this, because John, you give away the class before I start. This is a minute of the class. I am speaking to this class as an entity as I'm speaking to you guys on screen. What would it take for me to have multiple magnitudes of people in the class that are willing to change the planet? What energy, space, consciousness, magic, and miracles must I be to attract those to come to this class? Now, you might say, what is that? That's the magical foundation. And it doesn't make sense logically. So if you bring in your logical mind, I'm going to ask you to park that at the door and bring your body in and your being into the class. So
Nice.
with that, I hope to see you wonderful people in, what is it, like 12 days?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
I'm excited, and let's see what magic we can create on planet Earth and change the shit up.
We are looking forward to
Let's do it.
welcome all
Yes.
brothers and sisters who are ready to transform and manifest a beautiful
Yes.
life.
What else is possible now?
What else is possible?
Yeah. Okay, we'll see you guys next Sunday. And I'm looking forward to the magic. And let's party like it's 1999 and beyond. Bye-bye, people. Peace. Blessings.
Michelle.